I've seen comments on your videos pointing out that you speak English and appear to be Western educated, suggesting that it is hypocritical for you to criticize the West since you benefited from it.
Yes, this is a frequent comment that I get. It always amuses me, but really, it's quite interesting. Actually, it's really very revealing. I'm American, born and raised. I'm a Westerner. I'm an Irish German American. I speak English because that's my language. I dress the way I do. I talk the way I do, and I know what I know because I'm from the West. I'm not talking as an outsider. I come from there. You know, you act like being from there, being a Westerner is supposed to somehow disqualify me from criticizing the West, but it's actually exactly what qualifies me. I know what I'm talking about. I was raised in Pharaoh's palace, in the palace of Pharaon. I know what goes on there. I know the mentality of the people. I know the mentality of the people in that palace, how they think. I know the ideas and the attitudes that fester in the insulation and isolation behind those walls. You know, Pharaoh's palace was an echo chamber, and so was America. But look at the pattern, subhanAllah. Just like with Pharaoh, when they act like it's hypocritical somehow, or inappropriate, or ungrateful, or what have you, for me to be identifying and criticizing all of the evil and the injustice and the psychological sickness of the West, they talk just like Pharaoh said to Nabi Musa alayhi salam, أَلَمْ نُرَبِّكَ فِينَا وَلِدًا وَلَبِثْنَا فِينَا مِنْ عُمُورِكَ سِنِينَ. Didn't we raise you up as a small child amongst us for years of your life? Who are you to talk? Again, like it's supposed to be some kind of a disqualification rather than the perfect qualification. Yes, you did raise me up from childhood. Yes, you did, for years and years, and that's exactly why I can talk about you, because I know you. I was raised just like you, just like every American, just like most of the people of my generation. I know your schools, I know your media, I know your propaganda, I know your ideology, I know your thinking. Because what the power structure did to you, they did to me. I was given the same paradigms you were given, the same paradigms that they gave you to misinterpret the world, to misunderstand the world, the same blind spots, the same delusions, the same fake as a $2 bill version of history. Oh, I know all of the nooks and crannies of Pharaoh's palace. I know every corner, and I know what's brushed under every rug and what's hidden in every closet and all the bodies in the basement. And I'm not special. This is true for every American Muslim, for every Western convert to Islam. We represent together a kind of collective Musa, alayhi salam, to the collective Fir'aun of America and the West. Because yes, collectively, not just the power structure, but many Americans, individual citizens, collectively have a Pharaonic mentality, a Pharaonic mindset. They think that they're the Lord of the world. You know, as a so-called civilization, they think they're Lord of the world. Life and death is in their collective hands. And anyone and everyone who doesn't worship them deserves to be punished. If you're not upon the deen of Western worship, then you're a heathen, you're an infidel, you're a rebel who poses a threat to their supremacy. And it's grotesque. Because you know that, just like with actually Pharaoh, you know that inside of his palace, the slaves outnumbered at any given time all of the courtiers and the aristocrats. And America's no different. The West is no different. Most of the people over there are slaves. Mistreated, abused, looked down upon, treated as disposable, disrespected, and demeaned. But they still think that they're privileged and honored just by dint of the fact that they're inside that unholy palace. And they think that everywhere else in the world is miserable. They live in tyranny, but they think that tyranny lives everywhere else, because that's what their tyrants tell them. That's what they've been led to believe, that the whole world is a wilderness of despotism and oppression, that no one has any rights outside the walls of that palace, that it's all just chaos and violence out there in the world. That's how you can convince them that their chains are jewelry. That's how you can get them to say what a nice car it is that just ran them over. How lucky they are, that they get to pay more for antidepressants than anywhere else in the world. Meanwhile, that society itself is the one making their life so depressing in the first place. No, you need to get out of there. And I don't mean just physically. No, I mean mentally. I mean, it wouldn't actually even do you any good, really, to travel the world if you still have that same pharaonic mentality. You don't need to get out of the West as much as you need to get the West out of you, out of your mind, out of your mindset, out of your worldview. You need to take those blinders off. But as long as you think that those blinders are actually prescription lenses, you never will. Those aren't glasses that they gave you. It's a blindfold, and you need to take it off. Being Western, when I talk about the West, I'm not talking about just a geographical location. That's not what I mean. It's a psychological location. It's a way of thinking. It's an attitude. It's a perception. And that's what you need to get rid of. That's what you need to get out of. It doesn't matter if you never set foot outside of the walls of Pharaoh's palace. You just have to get outside of the walls of the Western mental prison. And who knows? There might just be a mutiny in that palace. And that's exactly what the power structure is afraid of. Not an actual mutiny. I'm not talking about a revolution, but an intellectual mutiny, a psychological mutiny. And that's why they're so threatened by Islam, because they're afraid that Islam will lead their slaves out of bondage, out of mental bondage. And that's the last thing that they want.